Picture this. It is the mid-1990s, the internet is beginning to take shape, computers are getting faster, and people are connecting online. And, in the middle of all of this, a small programming language steps into the spotlight and makes a bold claim. Write once, run anywhere. It sounded almost arrogant, but that phrase is worth $18 trillion, as it powers the backend of Netflix and the Fortune 500. And so to understand why Java became the language of choice, we need to start with its creator. In 1991, James Gosling, a Canadian computer scientist at Sun Microsystems, faced a problem. He and his team were building software for smart devices, televisions, set-top boxes, even toasters. The issue was compatibility. Gosling's idea was to create a universal language. Code would be compiled into something called bytecode, as long as the device had a virtual machine that bytecode could run on any device. At first, he called it Oak. Then, it was renamed after a type of coffee, called Java. Now, Java's real breakthrough was not in appliances, because in 1995, the internet arrived. Websites were mostly static, bodies of text, but Java promised something new. Small programs that could run inside the browser, called applets, responsible for animations, games, and interactive tools. For a short time, applets felt like magic. The web was finally alive. But applets were only the beginning. Java's real power came from something else. Most languages of the time talked directly to the computer. Java instead talked to the Java virtual machine, as the JVM was a layer between your program and the hardware. That meant one program could run on Windows, Mac or Linux without rewriting a single line. For businesses, this was priceless, as compatibility nightmares would disappear. A bank could write one system and deploy it everywhere. Moreover, the JVM also brought safety. Java couldn't casually overwrite memory or crash the operating system. Stability mattered more than raw speed, and companies noticed. As it wasn't just banks. Before long, Java would move on from enterprise servers to something carried in billions of pockets.
A long time ago at Sun, in about 1990, there was a group of us who were kind of worried that there was stuff going on in the universe of computing that the computing industry was missing out on. We sort of discovered that there were some things about standard practice in C programming that were really getting in the way. So back in the early 90s, it was well understood that, the number one source of security vulnerabilities was just bugs.
In 2007, Google released Android, and at its beating heart was Java. Millions of apps were written in it. Games, social networks, productivity tools, even Minecraft, one of the best-selling video games in history, began as a Java project. But with success came a criticism. Java has never been universally loved. It's called verbose, clunky, and too old. But the things that frustrate developers are also the reasons it became trusted. Take memory management, for example. In C or C++, developers had to manage memory manually. Mistakes led to leaks, crashes, or security flaws. However, Java introduced automatic garbage collection, a safety net that removed critical bugs. Also, its static typing made code predictable. Checked exceptions forced developers to handle errors, even if they didn't want to. Developers may have groaned at the restrictions, but for industries where mistakes cost millions, the guardrails were the point. Moreover, being reliable wasn't the only reason Java lasted, as concurrency was built in early. Java supported multithreading at a time when most languages didn't. That made it ideal for enterprise servers and big data frameworks. Around it, an ecosystem grew. Spring, Hibernate, Hadoop, frameworks that became the backbone of modern business software. And perhaps most importantly, backward compatibility. Code written in the 1990s can still run today. In technology, that kind of continuity is rare. Together, these factors kept Java alive, as Java was never the fastest or the prettiest, but it became the perfect language because it did the boring work flawlessly. Other languages rise and fall with trends. Java never cared about that. Its promise was simple: write once, run anywhere, and it kept that promise. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time.